All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's let the people get in here real quick. Actually, I always gotta turn down my volume on my end. I definitely am trying to enjoy the music, just like everybody else. I think I'm not gonna go with that. I think we're gonna go with the elements. Once I pretty much hit a certain part of the show, I'm gonna be switching to like the full screen. It definitely involves the last couple of topics that I'll be talking about. So I see we have 2 people in here. All right, so we can give it a few more moments to let some more people come in. And just to let everybody know, as a reminder, First and Frame Rates will not be scheduled as planned tomorrow. VF and his wife are gonna celebrate their anniversary. Happy 6 years and many more. Hopefully they'll come out with a second child after this is over with. Give his son a playmate. That's what I would think. Alright, so let me. Hey, what's up, Quayface? I didn't miss you. I just wanted to get that shout out to the VF out there, because I know tomorrow probably not gonna hear from him. If okay, here's the deal. If VF messages anyone, post anything or whatever. No, he said that's on Thursday, tomorrow, which is Thursday. But still. So here's what I'm putting out there. If this man is posting, if he's on social media tomorrow at all, everybody flame him. Shouldn't be on that social media. He should be hugged up with his wife on the anniversary. I've never actually celebrated an anniversary before. I never actually got to a point of an anniversary. So, hey, what's up, Antonio? I see you in here. All right, what was it? 8:03. We'll probably give it a couple more minutes. Give everybody time to come through. We're kind of loaded today as far as the topics. I think you guys do deserve a show. Why does my headset keep slipping? I don't know. My headphone. It's probably because I got the hat on. Matter of fact, you'll see. Let's lift this up real quick. I got the hat on today, and my headphones are trying to slip, and I have no idea what the hell is going on. But you know what? This is getting insane. See, this stuff I gotta deal with when it comes to. It's probably the hat. The hat's probably playing part of it, but whatever. So, welcome, episode 5. Honestly, I didn't think this would keep going, and not necessarily because of whatever view count that I may get, but just for the fact that let's see. I think the only thing I've let go multiple episodes that went for a long time was my NBA 2K15 series on YouTube, and also the State of Decay 2 series, which I think the longest episode in one season, which they were like Netflix type series or episodes where it went like 6 or 10. I think one went 10, but regardless. But again, welcome everybody. It's your boy DJ81. Obviously on Twitch is Evo325, but you know this is DJ81 from First and Frame Rates. Last night's show was pretty funny, pretty happening. Went over week 6 picks, and in today's show, tonight's stream, I will be going through week 7. So I will give you guys my picks for week 7. We will also talk about this PS4 Black Lives Matter theme gate. For some reason, I don't know why folks are mad, but we'll talk about that. And we will also talk about the NBA 2K next gen NBA 2K21 next gen blog that just dropped earlier today. And like I said, since there's no First and Frame Rates tomorrow, might as well take advantage. So I'm sitting there playing this up like there's some competition. No, VF got his own thing. Bill's got his own thing with his singing career. I've also got something going on with you guys here on Twitch. Reason why VF is migrated a little bit over to Twitch because of me. So there's always a reason for that. So we will definitely get to it. So I think everybody is here, or everybody that can be here will be here. Everybody that can get here, and I think the goal has always been 10%. So, but first thing we are going to talk about before we get into the main topics: Rogue Energy. Go to rogueenergy.com. Yes, this is the unskippable ad. You have no choice here. Go to rogueenergy.com where you can get some nice tasting, flavorful energy drinks. Clean energy. Just go over to the site, again, rogueenergy.com. Type in DJ81 to get your discount. Tell you, it's all you need. And the other bit of business that I wanted to go over, because I know some of you guys may have, I talked about it on First and Frame Rates. Damn, I can't even talk tonight. You know what? Let me drink my Rogue Energy. How about that? Oh, okay. All right. It's like crack. But anyway, so the other bit of business I wanted to get into, and we're just going to, voila, there it is. So as hopefully I'm looking at it, I am looking at my new logo. Definitely looking at my new logo. So funny how this popped up. I wasn't even thinking about coming up with a different logo. You saw the little signature that I have that starts the show every week. I have so basically now I have a signature and I have a logo. So I would say so far 2 for 2. But I wasn't even thinking about a logo. Well, I had some ideas about a logo, but it kind of never really got around to it. And just in the middle of the night, it just got on my phone looking for something, and it came across, and this is what they the name of the app is Esports Logo Maker. I saw the app. I've never had any previous experience with it. I've looked at other logo makers before, and I just downloaded it and just looked through, saw some interesting things. Then I seen this, and I was like, all right, let me see what I can do with it. So, because it's just the logo by itself without the DJ81. Of course, they let you customize whatever. It's esports, so if you had a team name or something like that, you can put that in there. But I found this image very peculiar, and I wish I would have loaded up the image I could compare it to, because my former image, the last image you guys saw of anything on my social media accounts or stuff like that, I had the same exact pose. So it was perfect. The image I wanted to use had the right colors. You know, it has red, it has black. Yeah, there's some gray in it, but that's the color of my car, and I like gray, especially the dark shadow gray. And it's got a light silver. So the second part about this was the difficult part, and that's the DJ81 part. Obviously, you had to type it in, and that was the easy part. But the hard part was getting it to look like that. Now, shout out to King David Creates. He actually advised me on this when I posted it on Discord, just to let everybody know, hey, I got this logo. I have this the first draft. I basically went through two drafts before I got to this one right here. So this one right here is gonna last me a long time. And as far as the borderline for the lettering, he felt that was the last bit I needed to do. So, and unfortunately, the logo maker makes it hard to do the border. I literally had to finagle it. I had to finagle the shadow outline in order to make it look like it's bordering. So, word of advice, esports logo maker, give us a border control option to manipulate the border instead of using shadow. So, alright. But hope you guys like the logo. It is pretty much plastered everywhere. If you haven't seen it, you see it now. It is right here. And with that being said, let's get to PS4. So I didn't want to take from anybody's screen, so of course I screen capped my own shit. And yeah, so Sony put out a free theme this past week. Obviously, Black Lives Matter. I would say a controversial group amongst a particular part of the country, a segment of the nation, a particular corner of the earth that does not like Black Lives Matters and actually believes this is a terrorist organization, which is kind of crazy. How can you label an organization that literally is for the betterment of humanity a terrorist organization and not even talk about the KKK? But anyway, in the gaming community, people got mad. You know, the typical racist thugs and whatnot. They got mad over this. There's really not much to see in here. It's basically the flashlights are now on, and it got shined on some cockroaches, and they start scurrying and trying to and panicking and began to hide in places that they normally would hide anyway, but had to find different places to hide at. So I didn't think you know, all the major companies seem like they back Black Lives Matter, and it's funny for anybody who has any contrarian idea about maybe the KKK or whatever, as far as them being an upstanding group. I don't see them being endorsed by major companies. I don't see their wallpapers themes being made of the KKK. You want to know why? Because they've killed people. Some dumbass Australian sounding, he sounded more Australian than British, and there is a difference, by the way, just to let you guys know. If you really pay attention to how people talk, an Australian sounds different than a Briton. You thought I was going to say British, but no, Britain is when you're talking about people. British is when you talk about the language. So he literally says that Black Lives Matter advocates for violence, murder, and property damage. Hey, what's up, G-Rob? I see you. You know what I find funny about that? According to Trump, that was Antifa. So somebody's getting their signals crossed. They don't know which group is causing mayhem, whatnot. And then come to find out, they saying that Antifa possibly getting set up by white supremacist groups masquerading as Antifa. Because anyone can hide in all black. Anybody can wear all black and make themselves look. If they can hide their identity, if they can hide their skin underneath all that black clothing, you don't know who you think because Antifa and Black Lives Matter have black in them that all of a sudden, oh, it's them causing the trouble. No, it's actually the other way around. Black Lives Matters and Antifa in some way have been mostly the peaceful protesters. And then when it comes to peaceful protesting, I don't understand why the police just don't protect peaceful protesters. They protect the armed ones that like to storm government buildings and threaten to kidnap governors. But that's a different story. So, all right. So G-Rob is like, all of that stuff is wild, bro. You don't know what's going on. That's crazy. That's the crazy part. But yeah, just people in the gaming community being upset for no reason, especially when you can create your own wallpaper. If you want to be racist and put the KKK, on your home screen, you can do that. Possibly. I don't quote me on that because I don't know. Sony, they got into a little kerfluffle about their privacy practices. Had to explain that they're not actually recording people. They're actually they record people, but they only bring it up when somebody snitches. That's all they do. Everybody knows. Patriot Act is in effect here. So I think that's enough time about this, because this wasn't gonna spend a lot of time. And yes, you see, I do have Death Stranding on the hard drive, so sue me. Also, I think that's AJ Styles to 2K19. Yeah, still got it. All right, so we're gonna make a little switch. So no more slide, and we're gonna get to the meat and potatoes of this show. So we're just going to, hopefully I pull this off. Should. Aha! Forgot to start everybody off at the beginning. So NBA 2K21 dropped their next gen blog part 3 earlier today. And for the most part, what I'm seeing on the timeline is that everyone is praising, or I would say mostly favorable. I'm not going to use praising because that would mean that people are just fanboys. But favorable views of these upgrades. So I'm not going to go through it detail by detail because that's not me. You know, I like details, but I've already read through it, and for you viewers' sake, I'm not gonna put y'all through that. But as you scroll down, for me, I skipped past player builds, badges, takeovers. Hey, what's up, Doug? Glad you're here. Yeah, I think you missed the good. You missed the boring stuff. Now we're in the interesting stuff here. So for me, when I was looking at this blog, I skipped past player builds, badges, takeovers. I understand that badges and takeovers are incorporated in the game anyway, as far as the main game. This would be more like of interest to like anybody who does my players, which there are a lot of people that do my players. So not really anything of interest to me. It says no more pies because I remember everybody would start out with a pie chart and they had the divvy. So I guess you can make whatever type of player you want, because I think the other thing they said, there are no more archetypes. So your players basically can be whatever they want to be, which is going to open up. I kind of feel like it's going to open up a can of worms. I'm not completely sure. But oh, and if my picture is in the way, I do notice that in the bottom, if you're looking at it, I'm on the bottom left. If it's in the way of the paragraph that you're trying to look at, I'll just scroll up. But I'm not moving, just to let you guys know. So really, I didn't really care about that too much. Then you have badges. Says a lot of thought and redesign went into the badges for next gen. Many favorites returned. So basically, it was just like, look, we probably had some badges in there that had no business being in there, and for current gen, y'all are stuck with them. But for next gen, we're gonna take some of these badges out. We're gonna put some new ones in. We're gonna bring some back that we took out for current gen that was in 19, or that actually was in 20, but I'm gonna tell you, my guys. I'm gonna tell you guys my overall thoughts on this when we get to the end of this. But you see all these badges right here. You can see the definition of them here. Okay. Yeah, G Rob says, I've seen this article earlier. It seems like Madden may be a port for next gen. I've been saying from the jump, and not even needing any type of blog, any other craziness that, you know, people are speculating on. The fact that it's a free upgrade to next gen, it's not backwards compatible, which would have been like telltale sign, but it's a next gen upgrade, a free next gen upgrade. So if you bought the game for $60, you get the $60 version on next gen. So what I'm thinking, it really is gonna be just an upgrade in graphics, lighting, stuff like that. Everything that they took advantage of with the Frostbite engine. So again, we're here on the badges. So if really, I tend to really don't look at badges a whole lot. I tend, like, I'll look at them as part of scouting when I'm doing my league. But I don't do my player. I don't do those type of builds. So you won't see me making a video like, oh yeah, I've created this player and blah 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 blah. That's basically not. So this is fine. I'm like, all this is fine. I'm not really worried about all this. I'm like, I look at badges. I know exactly what they do. So this has been ingrained ever since they started putting in badges. So I'm like taking stuff out, putting stuff back in, re-envisioning some others. It was some funny pictures. Like, hold up, what was this one? This one with the sock? Yeah, that was funny. I know Obi-Wan Watson posted this one earlier, and this one right here. What is this? And I don't know. See, you guys can't see my mouse, but I got the mouse over this clown emblem. Probably Circus Act, or let me see if they got. Yep, Circus Threes. So that's probably what it is. Circus Threes is the clown emoji, because this is in the shooting. So that's what that is. Circus Threes. I thought that would have been the first negative badge and it's funny because 2K has negative badges in their game. Alright, so Doug is like, what if you bought the Kobe edition? If you bought the Kobe edition, you get a free upgrade to next gen. That's what 2K did, but you had to buy the Kobe version. If you bought the regular version, if you bought the $60 version on current gen, you had no free upgrade, or you would have to pay $10 to upgrade to next gen. That's what 2K has. If you bought the $60, but if you bought the Kobe, or even if you bought the because there's two. It's the $60 one. There's the mid-level one, and then there's only two. They only do 2 price points. My fault. So, and they confused everybody when they did the whole thing because they threw in PC, and PC is stuck. I'm like, you get the Kobe version on PC, you just get an extra VC or nothing. You're not getting anything else. And that's what they did. So if you got the Kobe edition, you pretty much got the free upgrade to next gen. Now, what I thought was interesting was the Takeover system. What they basically, not necessarily the additions, but it was the fact that it's multi-tiered. It says that if, obviously this will work better seeing it through my player, but your my player builds up the first Takeover. Yet once that's filled, you have a choice of whether you can. What the heck? It's like 8:20. Who the hell is calling me at this time of night? Decline. I don't know who's calling me at this time of night. Jeez, I need to cut the Bluetooth off of my phone. Yeah, that was weird. So, tiered system. So the Takeover tiered system, the first stage fills up. You can use it at that point, or you can gamble and let the second stage fill up to get an even bigger Takeover, and then the Nightwalker DJ. Let me see. And then on top of that, if you want to gamble some more and possibly get your whole team involved in what they call a team takeover, you let stage 3. No, I wasn't gonna answer that. No, business hours are between 12 and 5. I don't answer any calls of numbers I don't recognize after 5 o'clock. If I don't recognize you, and if you call and I don't know your number, all bets are off. But anyway, stage 3 is the team takeover. So, and that's where obviously your whole team, and then it's like it goes bananas, and then the one thing I don't like about the takeover system is that it governs when teams call timeouts. I don't like that. I like the timeout system to not be so dependent on the takeover system. Like coaches tend to call timeouts when a player is either close to a takeover, or when the usual path was, okay, team to score like 10 straight points, bloop, it's called timeout. Oh, my players are getting tired, bloop, timeout. Oh, it's an important moment in the game, bloop, it's called timeout. In current gen, and it seemed like the last 2Ks, you would go forever, the CPU would never call a timeout, and a lot of times you wouldn't call a timeout either, but you can call a timeout whenever. The AI, on the other hand, they let their players play for no reason. But so that's what I thought was interesting about this takeover system. So the next part is next gen AI. And this is where my overall thought starts creeping in. I said this about part 2 of the 2K blog. I feel like a lot of these upgrades, and bravo to the business side of things. You did what you had to do because it was best for business. And I get it, but this sucks. Not what they're doing, not the upgrades that they're putting in. I like these changes that are going to be put in. The new switching logic update, adaptive the ace now has the ability to recognize and adapt to different types of off-ball actions. Improve logic for CPU defenders to get in position to take charges. Several improvements to transition defense. Overhauled the hedge defensive system for better screen positioning and angle targeting. The player can now call for help defense by holding the L1, which I don't know if it was L1 exactly, but couldn't you already manually call for double team? So I don't maybe holding L1 is the new functionality of it, but couldn't you already call for a double team? And doesn't that kind of remind you of Live and how they used to call for double teams? You had to hold a certain button, and then the double team would come and help. And then it says improved. Let's see. It says improved logic for defenders in avoiding each other when moving around obstacles. This works hand in hand with off-ball movement changes I detailed in last week's blog. So player avoidance, which in 2K with their motion, with the way they move, lousy. I've never seen players that try to, they literally hardcore stuck to the script, whether they were trying to, run through screens, run under screens, whatever. They would not, unless they ran into a canned animation or some type of two-man animation where they were running. That's the only time I felt like they recognized there was somebody else there. Other than that, it was like they were in a program like there was nobody else on the court. They run it like bunching up when they don't have to. They clearly can see, hey, there's too many people over here. Maybe I need to take my ass over there. But that doesn't. It didn't happen, and hopefully they've rectified that. But that's on defense. Let's look at offense. So this says next gen game planning. Now this again, it's what's best for business. I had to keep telling myself because clearly these improvements are based on the business. I feel like if there was not a next gen console coming out, being rushed out during a pandemic, most of these upgrades would have been 2K21 and 2K22 current gen. I'm telling you right now. And you would have been just paying $60. They weren't going to increase it on current gen, but they had the ability to increase it. So yeah, fuck the business side, but that's what they felt was best for business. So so as we look through these, so it says next gen game planning. I know a lot of you guys read this earlier. Play through the star, pound the ball inside, double team counter intelligence, end of game logic, starters and bench favorite plays. The way I kind of have it set up on current gen is that I call my players specific plays, and then I have a set plays that I can run with the starters and the bench. That's the way I have it right now. So you technically can do that, but it just doesn't have it set up for them. So moved player specific plays. This is bullshit right here. Moved player specific plays and player specific ball screens back to the L1 button. This was something many people were requesting. Now the fact that you knew they were requesting it, but you did not put it in this current gen. Requesting so they could get quick access to the icon pick control again. Favorite players are now mapped to the D-pad. Can we get this on current gen? We should be able to get this on current gen because you had it on current gen the year before. If you're not going to correct this on current gen, then I'm calling bullshit on this right here. On this move player specific. Let me just scroll up so you guys can see it. And you're about to see a video of the movement as far as the pick and roll with LeBron and AD. But play and freelance flow. Let's say, as we've done every year, the play and freelance offense flow has been greatly improved moving to next gen. There are several actions that we just had a hard time getting to run smoothly in past 2K games, but thanks to logic upgrades and vastly improved motion engine, everything flows extremely well in 2K21 for next gen. It remains to be seen. Hey, what's up, Noble? I'm glad you're here. So, alright, fix AI players accidentally positioning themselves out of bounds. How about making sure they don't run into each other on offense? Just like you're trying to make sure of that for defense. So, and then new pick and roll spacing. New spacing code gives some of our pick and roll and isolation sets that extra adjustment on dribble penetration. I'm starting to sound like VF. It's much more solid now, but expect continued expansion on this module as the year goes along with our in-season play and AI updates. So, and you see the video right here. You see it's playing right now. I'm like killing my encoding right now just to bring this. I don't know what it looks like to you guys. I don't know if it's playing smoothly like it is. I can actually stop this. So like right there. Of course I lose my screen right there. And then we're gonna. Now the thing right here on this part that concerns me, which is still the same movement on current, you getting it on day one. I don't even have a pre-order for the PS5, so no. Right now, no. Right now, I'm just stuck with the current gen. So and I'm not hopping through hula hoops to get one. They shouldn't have never rushed one out. They shouldn't have never rushed next gen out during a pandemic. You didn't have the amount to calmly get the majority of people their next gen consoles between Microsoft and Sony. Then they should have held back another year. They could have. So, but here's the thing that concerns me. You see that defender right there that clearly let LeBron pass and pretty much stuck with his guy. Let me go back. 90 Crowder. And you see what's the name is chasing. So if Crowder's sagging and he sees LeBron wide open, why is he sticking with his guy? Unless there's somebody over here, which I think there was. Nope, there's nobody there. Okay, so we'll see what happens there. And this is my team. I don't care about that. And then closing thoughts, bye. I sold everybody up River of Goods, and all these upgrades I would have had on our current gen the next 2 or 3 years, I just stuck them all on next gen because it was best for business. So that's pretty much the 2K blog. So anybody got any questions as far as what I just talked about? I wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't going through blow by, well, towards the end I did, but how do you guys, if any of you guys in the chat that have read this blog already, what are your guys' opinions on this? Take some more drink. Where is the Madden blog? That's from Noble. Antonio, are you getting the next gen version? I technically have it. I bought the current gen Kobe edition, so I technically have it. I just don't have the next gen console. So I'm like, I have anybody who bought the Kobe edition. Excuse me. Anybody who bought the Kobe edition pretty much has the next gen version, so you already have it. It's just, am I gonna get a next gen version anytime soon? Or next gen console anytime soon? I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, somebody drops one in my lap, I'll take it. Preferably the digital version. But all right, so Yep, Pooh's lurking as always. Him with the sword. So, but thank you for letting me know you're lurking. It's gonna be that does feel creepy. I know. Shout out to Real Mama Eagle. She was. I think she had started up a podcast. I thought it was a podcast that was going to be ongoing, but her and other panelists were talking about people who just drop in the chat just to say they're lurking and how does it feel. And the other panelists, there are other ladies that do podcasts or stream on Twitch, and I thought it was interesting. Some people they're cool with it. Some people are like, look, if you're just lurking, just lurk. You don't have to come in, and it's not my personal opinion. I could care less. So Pooh, if you want to say you're lurking, at least for me, it lets me know at least you're there supporting. And for me, that's how I feel about it. But there were varied opinions on that panel. So shout out to Real Mama Eagle, who's been doing big things in the last few months. I remember when I first followed her, she was just starting, and then to watch her just grow into, and I'm not a big Twitch streamer, nor am I a big YouTuber, nowhere near it. I'm like that at the very bottom. I get, but I always give it up to people who get started, they have a goal in mind, and they're able to reach different levels of it, because you always know that there's not an end level to this. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you don't stop. So, and even for those of us that kind of remain at a certain level, I'm like, if you really enjoy what you do, you just keep doing it. I'm like, if it's not gonna be for others, at least do it for yourself to keep going. Don't quit. So, that being said, week 7 of the NFL season. There we go. Figure we can bring up this now. Alright, so I didn't bother to bring anything to write anything down with, so this will be unofficial, but it will also be recorded, so I really don't have to write anything down. And if you guys want to give me your opinions, then let me know. But let me go in the chat real quick. I feel like I keep neglecting you guys when I go on these rants. But so Antonio says you could probably get a Series S. It's actually on the list, but not really worried about the S. I'm more worried about the PS5 digital edition. That's the main one I'm concerned with. Not that interested in the S. Noble is like, what's the difference between the digital version and the physical version? The disc drive. That's it. G-Rob is like, I like what I've seen in the blog, but I'm not rushing out to get a console. I upgraded my PC, so I'm good. Yeah, I seen you was posting the pictures of certain parts. I know VF was helping out. Hopefully everybody in the Discord. Man, shout out to everybody in the Discord. Just to let everybody know, and I think you can tell by the crown next to my logo, when I started that Discord, I was hoping to get it to the point to where it was. Sometimes it's like you get something started, and obviously it was the main purpose of it was to be a branch for first and for frame rates to host our community, and I'm happy to see it grow to where it is right now, and I hope it continues to grow, and to see you guys chatting to where we, like a person like myself, could pop in every now and then and just see how everybody's doing. I'm extremely happy that everyone else is enjoying the Discord. Like I said, it gives us that sense of community that technically we really didn't have in the sim community. I'm like, all had separate in the sim community, we all had different YouTube channels, but there was no social platform that we all gathered and just talked and whatnot outside of Skype. Like, where you could either get together through voice chat or get together through messaging. Now we have Twitter, we have Discord, and Discord definitely has been doing the thing. So I'm just glad everybody's enjoying it. I'm glad that I'm just glad that everything has been growing. The first in frame rates, the fact that VF now is taking off with his sunglasses. And just overall, it's just, things are just looking up. We're slowly growing, and we're just looking to keep going. So with that being said, enough about whatever. NFL Week 7. So tomorrow we have the Giants versus the Eagles. Quite frankly, the NFC East faces each other, so for the rest of the league, it's an actual reprieve. Oh, Pooh's like, just want to say in advance, thank you for streaming tonight, DJ. Oh, no problem. I hope you okay, because a lot of times when people say that, and this may not apply to you, but sometimes I think something may be troubling, and hopefully that with my personality and presence, that it calms whatever situation you're going through, if you're going through a situation. But no problem. Glad I was able to help. It could be a admin thing for all I know, but I always get I have this like spidey sense when I get a message like that. So yeah, no problem. But it may be just because I starting with the freaking Giants and Eagles. I'm like, everybody wants to laugh, so here we are. All right, so like I said, it has been some BS this week that I had to deal with. That's what I'm saying. Okay. See, I knew I had some sense because I have been looking for distractions, and you're a good one at the moment. I'm glad I'm able to provide that distraction. Didn't G-Rob say something? Oh, yeah, he said earlier. Oh, yeah, he said, yeah, man, I appreciate this. No, like I said, I appreciate everybody being here. And definitely in particular, I also realized the importance of today, just because there will not be a first in frame rates tomorrow. So that's why I got the NFL picks here, and we can talk about it. But let's get to the NFL, because this is funny, especially this first game, because you have the Giants versus the Eagles. The Eagles, as you can see the record, as I'm starting to choke, but obviously the whole NFC East is, so I'm not alone. So, Eagles lost last week. There's a relationship developing between Wentz and Fulgham. They are definitely waiting for Rigor to get back to have their 1-2 combo at wide receiver. Now, there were some key things that happened in the game last week. There were a lot of drop passes, particularly for touchdowns. Miles Sanders comes to mind, and I'm gonna tell you that Miles Sanders drop, it was bad, but it wasn't as easy as some people are trying to put it out there. And again, I'm just gonna explain my background. I played wide receiver from, I don't know, since I was 6 years old, and still play in like, you know, weekend leagues at the age of 40. But in between that time, I've been learning my craft. Now, obviously, I'm not in the pros. Never did go to the pros. I almost made it to the pros, almost. But I know a difficult catch when I see one. And Miles Sanders, for a running back to be in that position, actually multiplies the difficulty on that. Here's what happened. So Carson Wentz is kind of, and Pooh, if you're, obviously you're here. Can you tell me, was he scrambling at the time? Because I know your offensive line is kind of patchwork right now. So it seemed like Carson Wentz was trying to, you know, get himself out of trouble, found a comfortable spot, delivered the football, which I thought was on target. Yep, he was scrambling for most of the game. You know, when you got that offensive line, you always running for your life. Shoot, we know it in Washington. That's what happens. So he threw off his back foot, but it was a pinpoint. It was a good pass. He delivered it where he needed to deliver it. So it was a good pass. Miles Sanders but I felt like Miles Sanders thought that was going over his outside shoulder. That's why he turned to his outside. Some people are like, oh, he turned the wrong way. Well, like, yeah, according to where the ball was thrown, but you never know what a quarterback. You never know when that play was drawn up. That play looked like it should have been thrown over his outside shoulder. So Sanders looked over his outside shoulder. I've been in this situation before. When you look one way and the ball's in a completely different, and you have to take your eyes off the ball and then have to reacquire the ball as you turn. In that moment, I felt like he didn't reacquire the ball until it hit his hands. And at that point, for a running back, it's too late, because there's situations that running backs are accustomed to catching the ball. It's mostly out here, like, you know, like cradling it, out here, like a lot of things out front. Running backs aren't used to doing this and tracking the ball like that. That's where you have like a Deshaun Jackson. And to tell you the truth, I did that in high school. A lot of my passes were like, you know, 40-yarders, 50-yarders, where the ball was in the air for a long time. It takes focus. And shout out to Real Mama Eagle. She sat there and said that a more seasoned person would have handled that with no problem, no issue. I tend to disagree, because that catch gives everyone an issue. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Jerry Rice, Art Monk, Randy Moss, anybody. Whenever you take your eyes off the ball and have to reacquire it, that's an issue in itself. So that is 100% false. I literally have to say that. It's 100% false. That's a no issue. Oh, so Deshaun Jackson is coming back, so he's mentally checking back in? So let me go through, because Pooh definitely has been going in on this. Let's see. So, and everyone knows what happened with the Giants. They got their first victory last week against the Washington franchise. Only because we tried to go for two. But credit to the Giants. They had a good defensive game plan in that game. And it was actually a good game between the Giants and the football team. I'm calling the football club or whatever. And the Giants got their first victory. So, let me go and see what Pooh was saying. So, but Wentz was in there crushed up, because if he throws it to where Sanders intends to, he would have really got both feet in bounds. He would have to get both feet in bounds. G-Rob said D-Jax is coming back on Thursday. So I don't expect anything, G-Rob. So, man, yeah, I'm like, see, since D-Jax is coming back, I think he may be a little bit more interested, because he's been not playing football for the last bunch of weeks. So he may be hungry. I don't know about your boy Alshon Jeffries though. He may have lost his job. I think he lost his job a while ago. But how you have two starting receivers, veterans at that, seasoned veterans, mind you, that one of them, the big one, Jeffries, was dropping passes before he was getting hurt. So, no, Alshon pretty much is being replaced. There's no he's about to. He is being replaced. That I know when a receiver is about to replace Alshon, and then Rieger is going to replace Djax, and then something's going to happen. I think Alshon, if anything, Alshon will probably get traded. If he clears a physical, he'll probably get traded. It'd be best for Philly to get rid of him. There's no point. You're not using him. He doesn't, apparently he doesn't want to be used because he's always hurt. So, shoot, everybody. But we can't stay on this for long. So, okay, so in this game, I am picking the Eagles. The reason why I'm picking the Eagles is because there's a developing relationship with Wentz and Fulgham. I feel like these two are what it would have been without Alshon Jeffries. So I'm going with the Eagles on this game. So, all right, so we move on to the Sunday games, and I don't have quite the detailed stories on the other games, quite like the other two VF and Bills tend to do on other games. I tend to have a couple of focuses here and there, and then I just whiz through them. As you guys witness when we do our picks, that I tend to don't talk much. I kind of do anecdotal thoughts about these games, and not so much like dig into the stats and the weeds of the game. I tend to just find the funniest thing I can find and talk about it. So, all right, so this game, you have the Steelers. We have two undefeated teams, so this is automatically going to be the game of the week. So you got Steelers and Titans, and basically you got two teams who have good run games. Their quarterbacks are kind of hitting on all cylinders. Defenses, Titans kind of let up a little bit because they almost lost that game against the Titans. Steelers pretty much did what they were supposed to do. I'm actually going to go with the Steelers on this one. I think the Steelers definitely have something going on in Pittsburgh. It was not expected at all, but I think they can pull this game out. I know the game is in Tennessee, but I think their defense can slow down Derrick Henry, so we'll see about that. So Doug's like the defense is going to be a factor in this game. Yeah, definitely. I think it is. I think it will be. All right, so next game, and it doesn't. And just to let you guys know, Dallas and Washington, it doesn't feel like a typical Dallas-Washington week. Both these teams, Washington's 1-5 and Dallas is 2-4. Now Dallas, this will be their second game with Andy Dalton. His name just slipped. Andy Dalton at quarterback. It'll be the second game. It's a quick turnaround because they played Monday night. Everybody knows the rules. I'm gonna pick Washington no matter what. With that being said, Washington could have won last week's game. It was winnable. Kyle Allen had 2 turnovers that led to 14 points. I had to do same energy when it comes to, because same thing happened with Dwayne Haskins. He gave up 21 points off of turnovers with those 3 interceptions in the game against Cleveland. So Kyle Allen comes back, has an interception that he forced into coverage. Even what's the name? Ron Rivera admitted that, and what was it? And then he had that fumble. We were driving at that point, so that was a momentum killer, scoop and score. So Noble's like, Dallas defense couldn't stop a Pee Wee team. I wasn't going to say what you typed. That's a trap. But, oh yeah, and on top of that, Dallas definitely. But yeah, Kyle Allen, he also threw 2 touchdown passes, which was a good sign. He was able to move the offense. The defense was kind of spotty here and there. Devontae Freeman was able to run on Washington a bit. Didn't really get a whole lot, but he had a couple of good runs. So Chase Young, he actually forced the interception out of damn, I can't remember the quarterback's name. For somebody tell, I have these. Yeah, I can't remember. Giants quarterback. All of a sudden, I had his name queued up, and it just like somebody just left the paperwork back in the office. Daniel Jones, thank you. Forced the interception for Daniel Jones when Kendall Fuller intercepted the pass in the back in the end zone. That effectively killed their momentum. So, but again, the rules are you pick your home team or you pick the local team. So I'm picking Washington on this one. All right, so I feel like the rest of these I'm just gonna breeze through. So okay, Buffalo, Jets. Yeah, this one definitely is a breeze through. Bills. Okay, Panthers, Saints. I don't know. All right, what we got? We got this on. If you ever follow Real Mama Eagle on Discord, she called Dallas defense being Swiss cheese back on draft night in April. She tried to warn them. So, but you know what? You know what else I tried to warn people about Dallas? That it was a plantation. You see what's going on. Been trying to tell you, Jerry Jones running that organization like a plantation. That big old stadium is a big old plantation. Telling you. All right, so okay, Carolina, New Orleans. I'm kind of going with New Orleans on this one. There's like both teams been kind of doing good as of late, but the edge goes to the Saints. I think experience over Teddy Bridgewater would do some good here. All right, so next game will be Green Bay Packers versus the Houston Texans. Now, the Texans almost won that game last week. They don't have Bill O'Brien as the GM. Crennel is the coach right now, and the fact that they won that first game with him there, then before losing the game last week, obviously. So, and the Packers were definitely humbled in Tampa because after that touchdown that got called back by Aaron Rodgers, where he did that little the two humps and then he kind of was like looking for that third or whatever, you know, that celebration that was the Jordan Peele skit or whatever movie. I don't know what it was from. But, yeah, he got humbled. He threw 2 interceptions. I think they both were pick sixes, which he does have the gambler trait in Madden. So, people are going to be like, does he keep that trait? Yeah, he's going to keep that trait because overall, he's been that type of quarterback. He's been on fire this year. So, he had one game, he had a fuck up, and that tends to happen. So, but I got Green Bay bouncing back. I don't think that Tampa game is the lasting effect because you gotta give it up to Tampa's defense. They're back. That Tampa Bay defense of old with Warren Sapp in them. Yeah, they're back. So give it to Green Bay on this one over the Texans. Then we got Cleveland. Oh God, the Battle of Ohio. I don't even know why I'm entertaining this. I would think it would be a coin toss. I'm gonna go with Cleveland on this one. Right now, they're at for some godforsaken reason, they're at a further development stage than the Bengals. But I wouldn't be shocked if Joe Burrow put up some numbers in this game, but I got Cleveland walking away with this one. All right, so you got Detroit and the Falcons. Now, I called this game last week, the Falcons winning. I knew they were going to win. I tried to pick them one week before, and they failed me. But they don't have Dan Quinn no more. He finally got fired, and it was funny because we talked about this on First and Frame Rates last year, trying to figure out who's going to get fired first. Jay Gruden, Bill O'Brien, Dan Quinn, and Everybody was adamant that it was going to be Dan Quinn. It wound up being Jay Gruden, thank God. And so there you have it. But I am going against the Falcons this week. I am picking Detroit. So that will be the end of that. I don't think I have any, because I didn't really pay attention to Detroit last week. I know that Swift went off last week at running back, but didn't really look at them that much. So I'm going with Detroit this week. All right, so this is going to be interesting. The Seattle Seahawks versus I was about to call them the St. Louis Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals. Battle of the Midgets. This one will be. I'm going to give it to Midget 2.0. I'm going to go with Arizona in this one. I think Arizona is going to give the Seahawks their first L. I think Seattle doesn't have that type of defense that they once had. And they got people that can blanket DK Metcalf. And they should be able to get to Russell Wilson. Midget 1, as I call them. So you got Midget 1, Midget 2. So, and if I get some SJWs or some PC people that get mad because I call them midgets, I'm like, look at their height. One's like 5'6", the other's like 5'11". I'm 5'10", but I'm not playing in the NFL, so I wouldn't be classified as a midget. So, I'm just sitting down in this chair. So, anyway, but yeah, I'm picking Arizona in this one. Arizona beat St. Louis. Oh, so Doug is like, it depends on which Cleveland team we're gonna see. Just to go back to that game, it will depend on what Cleveland team we see, but I think we're gonna get the Cleveland team that's gonna beat Cincinnati. That's what I think. So, oh God. Automatic L for the Jaguars. I am picking the Chargers just cause Jay Gruden's a bitch. He doesn't deserve to coach in any capacity whatsoever. And some of his players have COVID, I believe. I'm like, shoot. Some of the players had COVID. Apparently some of the AEW wrestlers got COVID. So it's I don't know. But no. Jay Gruden can kiss my ass. So I'm picking the Chargers this one. Hopefully, hopefully Herbert can put up some more numbers because he's been doing good. He's having a good rookie year thus far. So I give him that. All right, Doug is like, I hate the Chargers, but they will win. Is Baker starting? Of course, Baked Mayfield is starting. Who else would start for Cleveland? I don't know if you guys missed it, but I called him Baked Mayfield on the podcast. He was awful. So, but Baked Mayfield is playing. Now, okay. If Baked Mayfield is starting, then they'll probably lose. If Baker Mayfield starts, they'll win. I think Baker Mayfield will win that matchup between Cleveland and Cincy. But if it's Baked Mayfield, then nah, that you forget about it. All right. Next game, we have San Francisco versus the New England Patriots. Damn. Garoppolo versus, I think, maybe Cam Newton? Is Cam's playing in this game, I would hope. Garoppolo had a good game. I don't know if I said his name correctly or not. I'm like fearful of saying people's names. I can't even say Giannis's last name correctly. So I'm like definitely afraid of that. So I would say I'm picking New England just cause they're in New England. 49ers are decimated with all those injuries. Patriots are decimated because they have Bill Belichick coaching. So we'll see. But I got New England winning that game. Then we have the Chiefs and the Broncos. Now, back in the day, this was even though they're in the same division, it was a intense rivalry, just like it would be if it was Kansas City and Oakland, or Las Vegas, as they want to call themselves now. Doesn't matter. Yeah, Kansas City running away with this one. I don't think the Broncos have a chance in that game. So, with that being said, the Sunday night game would be between the Buccaneers and the Raiders. This is going to be interesting because you could say this is an even matchup. These two have faced each other at pivotal points in their franchises. The Buccaneers destroyed the Raiders in that one Super Bowl, which saw the current coach of the Raiders leave the season prior in a trade with the Buccaneers and win a Super Bowl as the Buccaneers coach, only to now come back as the Raiders coach playing against the Buccaneers. The fuck is going on here, John Gruden? The man has a 10-year contract to be the coach of the Raiders, but left them. That was a story we talked about on First and Frame Rates beforehand, previously. But it's just crazy how these two franchises are just intertwined forever through one guy. And with that being said, Tampa is going to whip the Raiders' ass in this game. Tom Brady is going to throw for like 3 or 4 touchdown passes. Yes, I am sticking my neck out. I may take a L if this doesn't happen, but I don't care. Give me Tampa in that game. Doug's like, I hate both these teams as well, but Kansas City. Oh, back to that matchup. Yeah, nobody likes Denver, really. I'm like, when Brett Rippon was starting, I had some hope, but and Locke's a good quarterback. He's a better quarterback than Rippon, but the rest of the team, there's nothing there. So, alright, then we got the Monday Nighter. We have the Bears versus the Rams. So, basically, it's Khalil Mack versus Aaron Donald. Jared Goff versus whoever wants to play good at quarterback this week for the Chicago Bears. Because, G-Rod, you gotta understand, Foles is like on 1 week, off 1 week. On 1 week, off 1 week. Make up your goddamn mind and find a performance level that Nick Foles can play at. Or you're going to have this up and down play at quarterback all year long. You're going to have Trubinsky bitching on the bench. And we will never hear the end of it. Bears defense. G-Rob's like, go Bears. Whatever. Young Noble's like, Bears defense is what's keeping them alive. Like, oh, wait, yeah? Well, and then to tell you the truth, historically, Chicago's been known for their defense. That's their signature. Just like, okay, if we're going to talk about teams and their signatures throughout the years, we're going to talk about history, we can now talk about that because we are done with the picks for week 7. I'll probably go back and record later because I didn't write any of this shit down. So we're going to talk about historical, the history of these franchises. I can tell you right out the back that Washington has always been a balanced team. They were not known for their offense. They were known more for their offense than their defense, but usually the teams that they win with and have won with had a balanced offense. Let's see. It's Nagy. Foles plays better in the no huddle. He hates to run the ball. Well, that's why I hate Jay Gruden. He doesn't like to run the ball either. But, yeah, with Washington, the good teams, the Super Bowl winning teams, the Joe Gibbs years, before Daniel Snyder, we were good at balance. We had a good defense, good offense, good special teams. That was what it was. Chicago, we just talked about. Chicago's historically known for their defense. Mike Singletary, Ron Rivera, I'm about to call the man Harvey Dent, Richard Dent, Wilbur Marshall, a host of other guys. But it's a blue-collar city, so their defense led the way. Like, the only person you would know on that offense, the two people you would know on that offense historically is Walter Payton and Jim McMahon. Those are only two. Maybe like a person like myself would know about Dennis Gentry, who wound up playing for the Raiders too, and also played with Chicago when I had Takeover. So, and nope, people in Baltimore would like to question that. Willie Gold. That's the guy. But there was also a guy named Dennis Gentry on the team too. I remember because I threw a lot of touchdown passes to him in Takeover. Oh yeah, and who's the guy that had all those botches as a professional wrestler? He was part of the Four Horsemen. I don't know how that happened. Nah, Baltimore wasn't on the same level. I don't know. I think the Ravens were on that. Statistically, they were actually better than the 85 Bears. Just to let you know. So they were about that. They didn't beat the Redskins that year. They claimed to be the best defense, Super Bowl winning defense. But even in that game, it took a breakaway run. Neil Anderson, that's another guy. It took a breakaway run by Stephen Davis to win that game for Washington. But then Baltimore, because how do you explain Jim McMahon is obviously a better quarterback than Trent Dilfer, who was the Super Bowl winning quarterback when the Ravens won their first Super Bowl with that monster defense. So, like I said, Chicago's defense, Dallas Cowboys, historically, mostly passing. I think they kind of had a balance. They were known for their defense in the early days, like before I was born. But when I started watching them and hating them, they were more known for their offense, particularly the triplets: Aikman, Smith, Michael Irvin. Yeah, I will admit that defense in Baltimore was nuts. I'm like, I watched to sit there and watch both Chicago and Baltimore as an outsider, because obviously I'm a Washington fan. Their defenses were nuts, but the Ravens were on a completely different level. I'm like, the 85 Bears finished the Super Bowl by beating the New England Patriots, who really weren't that good at the time. They were good enough to make the Super Bowl, but Steve Grogan at quarterback, yeah, that's compared to, I don't even know who the Giants had at quarterback, but he threw a bunch of interceptions. And I remember somebody's corner, Jason Sehorn, got torched in that game. Other than that, Ravens defense was all over that offense. Amani Tooman couldn't get free. Whoever was running the ball along with Tiki couldn't. I don't know if Tiki Barber was there. Kerry Collins, drunk ass racist. Yeah, we found out that man liked to call people the N-word in his sleep. How we know? Because when people sleep, he would sleep. It would show his teeth. You know, when you show your teeth, that's what the mouth looks like when it's about to call you the N-word. So, oh yeah, because Tony Banks was the starting quarterback. They switched to Trent Dilfer mid-year. Matter of fact, I think it was after the Skins game, I believe, when they switched out. Because they was like, okay, we've gone several weeks without scoring a touchdown. It was all over the papers, all over the news. ESPN was talking about it, Washington Post, Baltimore Sun, all that were talking about it. It was like this drought that they just, luckily they were still winning these ball games, but they were winning like 3-0, 9-6, these low scoring games. And then they had the game against the Redskins, and they lost that game. And then I think Tony Banks went one more game, and then they switched to Trent Dilfer. And then Trent Dilfer was obviously he was the better quarterback of the two. And it's funny because we wound up getting Tony Banks, and he actually stabilized the position. Go figure. But oh yeah, also in that game, the reason why he got benched, Tony Banks fumbled on the one, I believe. In that game, somebody fumbled on the one. The Ravens could have scored in that game against the Washington and broke their drought, but they didn't. So Tony Banks got benched, Trent Dilfer got put in, and the rest was history. But let's see other teams that we can talk. I know because we got a ton of teams on the bye this week. Vikings. Oh God, Kirk Cousins is glad is on a bye week. Maybe he can go tell his father stop preaching hate in his off time. Jeez. Ravens. Okay, so no Ravens this week. No Colts. No Dolphins. No Vikings. So yeah, Kirk Cousins, tell your dad stop preaching hate. Black Lives Matter is not an idea of the devil. I don't know where you got that from, but you need to stop that shit. You know, God don't like ugly. You preaching in his house hate? Oh, hell no. I'm not even a religious person. Hell no. God's looking at me like I didn't endorse that fool. That's not my house. But let's see. Obviously, I'm not gonna hit every team when it comes to historic, but let's break. Okay, guys in the chat, historically, reputation wise, give me some of your thoughts on the teams that we already know about. The Ravens, we already know about the Bears, we already know about Washington, Dallas, but I know there's gotta be other sports teams fans in the chat as we talk about the reputations over the years of these franchises. Like the Saints used to be the Aints, but they did have a nickname when their defense came up to par as the House of Pain down in the Superdome. And it turned into a House of Pain for all different reasons due to a flood and a hurricane. But they did have the House of Pain. Let's see, Green Bay for the quarterback. Nope, Green Bay was because of the weather. All those NFL films you didn't watch, they would intro the thing. Well, that and Vince Lombardi. It was really not the players on the field for Green Bay. It was the coach and the weather. You wouldn't want to play Green Bay late in the season at their place. It'd be cold as a bitch out there. Like, I've been in some weather games, and the coldest I ever felt was after, and G-Rob, you may be familiar with this high school, Friendly. We played a game against Friendly late. This was back in 97. We played against Friendly High School down in Fort Washington. It was a away game for us. We traveled from Columbia down there to Southern Maryland, and we played them in not the freezing rain, but it was a night game, and it was raining. It was downpour. Like, they could have, if that game would have taken place today, they would have canceled it. That's how bad the weather was. But yeah, Green Bay, they're wet. You don't want to play them in that weather. But and Brett Favre, yeah, and it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers. It would have been Sterling Sharp, but he got hurt. But oh yeah, that. Okay, good. I'm glad you know about Friendly because we won that game 3-0. By the way, I had to get called for pass interference, offensive pass interference in that game. So, oh, you played against their baseball team. Yeah, it's funny that the way the game ended in that the way we beat them 3-0, but the way the game ended was complete self-destruct mode on their part. They got called for 2 consecutive unsportsmanlike conduct penalties because they were frustrated because they were losing, and they almost fought the refs at the game. They literally had to escort us under security to our buses. We had people protecting our parents after that game, and it really wasn't, that our parents, us as a team, Friendly wasn't mad at us, and I knew that then. They were about to fight the refs, not us. So I don't know why we were being protected. The refs needed more protection than we did. We got out of there. So was this a rivalry? No, no. A school out of Columbia against Columbia, Maryland, facing a team in Southern Maryland. No, we're not a rivalry whatsoever. But it wasn't the fact it was a rivalry game. It was the state semifinals. So the winner, it was for a trip to the state championship. So the stakes were high. That's why it was that intense. That's why they started fighting the refs at the end of the game. The coach was about to fight the refs too. Craziness. But yeah. So a lot of times it may not be a rivalry. It'll be the intensity due to the fact that it's a playoff game. It's winner go home, and nobody scored a touchdown. It was a stalemate. I almost pulled a hamstring in that game trying to fight the mud, and I had to block their best lineman. Yeah, no. I'm the same height I am now as I was then. I had to block their best lineman, who was like Aaron Donald. And I took his ass out. So figure that one out. I was like 150. Dude was like almost 300 pounds. And I took his ass out. So go figure. I figure we can go back to, because we're done with the picks here. Trying to see. Do I want to go back to? I'll just go back to that and close that out. There we go. Because my encoding was being overloaded, and I wanted to get that off my screen. Good. All right. Because that was killing me for a second. So, let's see something here. Okay, I just want to make sure the corner of that. So, but yeah, I want to hear some of your guys'. Okay. I definitely want to hear about some of your thoughts about the classic teams, like their reputations around the league. Like I said, just talked about Green Bay. Low key, I played baseball too. I didn't play throughout high school, but I played, like, that was my main sport, was baseball. I played shortstop. I was on a little league team that went 24-0. We played in Baltimore City. We went undefeated in the city. And yeah, I was the team captain of that team. I didn't get a chance to be a team captain of the football team playing in high school, but I was the team captain of the baseball team. I was one of two team captains, but I was the main captain, anointed by the head coach at the time. Like, there were no captains on the squad when we first started out. We were like a ragtag church group, even though I wasn't part of the church. And then, it's funny when you don't really hear about stories like this. The coach calls me at home, during that first initial season, and he's like, talking me up and stuff like that. I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm just like one of the guys. I literally remember saying that to him because he was like, I feel like you're like the best player on the team and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know, I'm just like one of the guys, you know, I'm happy to be a part of the team. He was like, no, first of all, you're going to take that as, like, he literally told me straight up, no, you're going to take that as a compliment. You are the best player. You were my first choice when I put this team together. You got to lead these guys from here on out. And from then on, I didn't look back. I definitely led that team. And it wasn't necessarily through statistics. It was just basically, it was the clear coach looking at everybody, evaluating everybody. It was like, you pretty much represent the whole team. From our best player to our worst player. Like, because there were a couple players on our team that were better at the plate than I was. There was people that were better in the field than I was, but I was the most well-rounded player they had. So, all right, so let me see. The Titans was tough till they met the Ravens. I think you said that. You probably said that a while ago and I missed it. But yeah, I actually was going to get to that earlier. So the Titans was tough till they met the Ravens. Eddie George was humbled in that playoff game. Yeah, that was crazy. Ray Lewis literally took the ball from him. No cap. Like, Eddie George got around the corner. I think it was on a pass play. Eddie George, he had it for a second, and Ray Lewis was like, "Give me that," and that was over. Eddie George's career went downhill. He wound up playing for Dallas. He sucked there, and then he played someplace else, and that was it. Yeah, that was a career ender for Eddie George. You know, you have some other grown man taking another grown man's cookies like they're in prison. I'm gonna talk about Ray Lewis in prison. The Bills choking in the 90s. Yep. That's all they did. Choke. They had a nice offense, though. You had Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, James Lofton, Thurman Thomas. You had Don Beebe on special teams. Then on defense, you had Cornelius. Bruce Smith. Cornelius Bennett. That's what I was about to say. Cornelius Bennett at the linebackers. They played in a 3-4. I forgot who else. I think Kelso was the tight end. But yeah, they ran into the closest game they had was against the Giants, and that's when Scott Norwood missed that field goal. And then they got clobbered the next two Super Bowls against the Redskins and against the Cowboys. The Cowboys murdered their ass. We let them back in the game towards the end. And yes, I was going to bring up the K-gun. That was interesting, that offense. You know, the Falcons had something similar called the Red Gun. I think them and the Saints had the what they call a Red Gun. And then this is when you knew, like, run and shoot was prominent, because at the time the Houston Oilers were running a run and shoot. The Detroit Lions were running a run and shoot. And then there were off brands of the run and shoot. Red Gun, K-Gun, whatever. So, yep, Niners, Cowboys, rivalry in the early 90s. Those NFC championships were intense. You know what's funny? Here's another thing historically. The 80s, the team of the 80s, overall, came down to one game. I'm going to let y'all guess which two teams were... Well, obviously, we know which team got it, but who's the other team they were talking about that could have been mentioned as the team of the 80s? Because we all know San Francisco, but it came down to one game. Oh, wow. They really did hold that message? Because, wow. So, yo... So, I'm going to allow because y'all need to see this. Okay, so... And it's funny because this is from the Auto Mod. Apparently, you can't say Redskins, and you can't chat Redskins in the chat. and and Doug, you're correct. It came down to a NFC Championship game between the Washington Redskins and the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers won that game, and I think that's where it, because at that time Washington had came off losing to the they came off losing to the Raiders. Were about to go back for a third Super Bowl. They won 82, they lost 83, and then they were one game away from playing the Dolphins again in 84. Oh, wait a minute. No, the 49ers, they played the Dolphins in 84, I think. But yeah, it was Automod. They apparently Redskins has been. I'm gonna clear that up because I'm like, I'd rather have somebody be able to say it. So I'll check into that. Sorry about that, Doug. But Automod be tripping. But yeah, a lot of people. And then here's another thing about the Washington franchise / formerly known as the Redskins. They were statistically have been proven to be the best Super Bowl winning team ever. Rated number 1 offensively. They looked at all the stats and could not find anything to say that they were not the best winning Super Bowl team ever. Even with your high-powered teams like the Patriots and stuff like that, skins were stacked. The 91 Washington squad was stacked. Not necessarily through their players or star power, but just the fact the way they performed. They were shutting out teams left and right. They opened the season with a 45-0 shutout of the Lions. They average margin of points was like 20 plus points. They were coordinated. And let me see. Plus the Niners could have lost 2 Super Bowls in Cincinnati. That is true. Now here's the thing. That 84 game was against the 49ers. That 49ers game Super Bowl, that was against the Dolphins, or was it against Cincinnati? I'm thinking it was Cincinnati, because you said twice. Because I could have sworn, I'm looking at the game, I'm looking back into the memory banks, and I got a visual of both Miami and Cincinnati playing against San Francisco. One of them's correct, and I think it was Cincinnati back then, because that was like the second. That was the first Super Bowl. Because which one? It had to have been the Dolphins. I'll look that up. Let's see, 49ers. Whoops. Versus Dolphins Super Bowl. Yep. It was the 1984. It was Miami. Yep. It would have been Washington versus Miami if Washington had beaten San Francisco. And it literally came down to the last moments. Washington messed up towards the end. Washington would have made their third trip to the Super Bowl. And because of that, head-to-head game, San Francisco was labeled the team of the 80s. But Washington was literally one game behind. And that was from that game, so... So that's that. Alright, so anybody got any questions, any Q&A? I'm featuring the logo again because that one night this logo came to me and was like, let me be your logo. But I think we covered a good amount of ground here. I think we got everything we need to accomplish out the way. So if anybody has any questions before I leave out, let me know. Alright, so Doug said, what did you think about Q possibly meeting with Trump? I don't think he did anything wrong because he didn't meet with Trump. He met with the campaign He also met with Biden's campaign too. So as far as I'm concerned, he's even. He's right in the middle. What I do see is the people attacking him just really just going off of that quick twitch headline type response where, oh, you see Trump and you see Ice Cube be like, oh, no, he can't do that, blah, 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 but then disregard the fact that he also met with Biden. Now, it's funny, I would think that Biden's campaign would have jumped on this and was like, look, let's talk about it. Let's see what we have. Let's see what you got. And let's talk about it now instead of holding off, which is a concerning pattern because that's the second thing that the Biden campaign has said, hey, let's discuss this after the election. The other is the courts. I'm like, as much as I don't want to go against them with the courts, both him and Harris are not answering that question about the courts. And that's troubling, just in that aspect. So it does say, well, you know, those pro-blacks were going off. And you know what's funny? People like to gatekeep, and we talked about this on First and Frame Rates when it came to sports teams. But people do it obviously in real life too. Like, who in the hell is in charge to qualify whether you speak for black people or not? I'm like, who relegates who gets to speak for us? Last I checked, if you black, you can speak for us. You're one of the many voices of us. Ice Cube is one of many, not one of a selected few. That's not how this works. Let's see. Cube did a podcast with Willie D, and Shannon Sharp. He broke everything down. Yeah, because Cube has a plan that he was being advised by damn, I can't remember his name, but it was a doctor. I can't remember his name, but somebody had just suggested this guy to Cube to look over his contract with Black America, and Cube was like, oh, I already got this guy advising me on this. So it's just like, everybody looks at Cube, and first of all, I remember Ice Cube brought this up many years ago about how people make fun of the way he talks, how the way he looks aloof, and so on. And you know, he talks slow, but he's very methodical in everything he does. He's methodical in his speaking. It's kind of something that I've looked at because I don't talk fast either. I'm like, I may not appear aloof, but Cube is a little smarter than people think. And to sit there and say that he's not qualified to talk on issues, to represent us in issues, is insane. What this man rapped about literally is still relevant. This is exposing a lot of people that really, this exposes a lot of people that said they listened to Cube and followed his music. They followed his music. Cube was way ahead of his time, and he is in the here and now where he was many years ago. I remember what one woman said, so the fuck what, he said this about this he wrote songs like 30 years ago or something like that. And I'm just like, but you're obviously you're mostly charged, but two, you didn't pay attention to what was being said. You didn't pay attention to what he rapped about. You talk about about what he saw, then if you saw something, you had the ability to learn, and if you followed his discography, then you will understand that there were amongst the music, there were interludes that played a lot of important moments in African American history. A lot of them were from Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad. Uh, there was the Donahue show. He played snippets of that in some of his albums. Clippets of people talking about how they feel being in the wrong neighborhood and stuff like that. Police brutality, obviously. One does not speak on this repeatedly unless he knows a little something about that and has dug into it quite deeply to the point where you're bringing up names like Farrakhan. I talked about Elijah Muhammad. He did mention him by name, but he really was talking about Farrakhan. So, alright, so let me get back to the chat. So, D.L. Hughley was trying to drag Q, but he failed. Yeah, he did. A lot of people tried it. And you know what I noticed? I noticed, and people may think I'm wrong in saying this, and I love my black women, but some of y'all being weaponized by the Democratic Party to go against people like Cube. And Cube even said it best. He don't trust neither side. So how can you get mad at somebody that does not trust either side? It's not about, well, this person won't hurt you. The way Cube is thinking, it's like he's not thinking, oh, Trump is bad, but this person isn't as bad. No, he's thinking you're bad, you're bad. But right now, there's an opportunity to rectify a situation. And why am I going to cut off one possibility because everyone's in their feelings about the other person? That other person could possibly do something that the other side has kind of given people breadcrumbs of. I'm like, and Democrats have done okay, but somebody asked me a while back, in my lifetime, in which I'm 40 years old, and G-Rob, welcome to the club. I know you just celebrated a birthday over the weekend. Hope you had fun. I saw the cigars you were smoking. You and MJ could have been smoking the same cigar, apparently. But damn, I hate this. I lost the point I was gonna make. But yeah, I remember. In my life, whoever's been in control, whether it was a Democrat or a Republican, what did it mean? How did it feel as I went about life? And I felt like under Republicans, it felt like the quality of life would go down. I felt like under Democrats, it would just steady out. Never felt like it was getting better. Except one person, and it was and unfortunately, it's like a double-edged sword with Bill Clinton, because you had the crime bill happen under his watch, and that definitely was not for us. But everything else, jobs, economy, social life, everything was balanced, and I think that's what we are missing in society as a whole. It's a natural balance of things. Right now, we are an unbalanced society. It's from one extreme to the next, and that's what's going on. You have extremists in the Democratic Party going up against extremists in the Republican Party, and the ones that are being bullied and whatever are the ones that are caught in the middle of this dumbass proxy gang war between these extremists. And honestly, I get sick of it. And you wonder why people don't vote. And the reason why people don't vote, because it's just like both your candidates are garbage, and you're not. And I'm like, nobody's demanding better of their candidates. Neither the Republicans, neither the Democrats. So it's just like, I feel like that whole plantation analogy again that I put out with the Dallas Cowboys, I feel like it's there with the Democrats, it's also there with the Republicans, and you have people fighting for their masters, they're fighting for their plantation, when in fact the point of being off the plantation was to be free and be able to express free thought and be able to provide balance in a situation that's unbalanced. And right now, a lot of us are being bullied into silence because we show balance. we show a clarity that most don't have right now, and that's a shame. So it was for us, all right. I might not this time. All these parties do is just point the finger. I need more. That's what you see. I'm like, the fact that there's two major news networks that represent each party is insane. Each party has their own news network, controlling news network, and I said controlling news network. I just kind of side-eyed CNN there, and then you have Fox, FAUX, not FOX. You got them over there. So the media was not supposed to be biased in the way that it is. So that's been troubling. Another person that tried to drag Cube. What's the gay dude's name? He comes on after Cuomo. Sometimes he does come on before Cuomo. He's always hitting on Cuomo. They always hitting on each other on TV. He tried to Don Lemon. Thank you, Don Lemon. Don, what's your problem? You have a fit every time somebody doesn't do what you want them to do. Like you did this with Kevin Hart when you couldn't get him to be an ally of the LGBTQ. All he wanted to do was just apologize and just move on. But no, you had to continue to throw shots, and you never faced that man. So now you get somebody like Ice Cube that will punch a hole in your chest, and all you can do is say slick shit. I'm like, you wait till after you couldn't even be like, hey, can I cut in and speak to Cube while he's still here? No, you wait until Cube left, then you say what you had to say. And I haven't seen Cube on the show, and Cube wants to come on. And that's the crazy part. And it's funny because they pulled up some old footage of Don Lemon. Oh man, you hate to see it. Don Lemon talking to black folks like they were getting on Bill Cosby for talking about black folks. Don Lemon sitting there talking to like he agreed. It was Bill O'Reilly. He was talking. Bill O'Reilly said some stuff about the black community, and Don Lemon was like, "Yes, that's right. They need discipline." Blah 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 blah. It was pretty much that. That was Don Lemon. That was you. That was you, Don. That was you. You hate to see it. You thought you could escape the old clips, but no, you're a media personality. There's always footage. And I think I'll wrap it up with the clarification I was supposed to make. I should have made this earlier. So on First and Frame Rates last night, I thought I saw the video of Jeffrey Toobin and in the Zoom call do his business, in which he's been suspended for by the New Yorker, and apparently it was a spoof video, but the spoof video was hilarious, and let's see, and it was just crazy that you do have people that get caught on stream. We've had YouTubers get caught on stream beaten off. Like, they literally forgot the cameras on. Like, see, at least I got a little privacy thing. I can just make sure I flip that and then do my business. But I don't even do that. So it's not even like that. But it's just funny. They literally forget that the camera's on. Like, there's a light that indicates the camera's filming. It's on you. But then there's that whole third eye thing where even if you have it showing red, NSA could tap into it and whatnot. But alright, so G-Rob asked me to switch it up. Are you logging a lot of time in No Man's Sky? I have been. I have a ton of pictures that I've yet to put up. Well, I was putting up a couple of pictures here and there. I actually had my PC No Man's Sky character meet my PS4 No Man's Sky character. So it was I took a couple pictures there, but yeah, I am logging. They released their Origins update, which I'm waiting for them to release an update that allows me to customize my ship color and whatnot. And also they need to do something with the exosuit backpack, besides that one that you have to get points, some type of currency for, that is other than the credits that are in the game. But yeah, I'm logging a good amount of minutes. My PS4 save is 120 something minutes. Now, I don't have my original save from when I started in 2016, but I do have the footage from 2016. And you look at that footage, and you look at some of the updated footage as the game progressed, as it updated, definitely is a much different game. So anybody wants to jump on that, and it's cross-platform. So like I said, the fact that Xbox players now have had access to No Man's Sky, PS4, PC. I don't even think it's on Switch. But yeah, this game would be, well, except for the fact that it's now a highly demanding game. I don't think Switch can handle it. So, all right. So it's in. How can someone forget that the camera's on? It's very easy. They just lapse. I'm like, you would think, if you're thinking from the way a rational person would think, they would check before and see that the color is either red or it's off or whatever, or they like, I can flip this down and you can't see anything. They would do something like that. But no, you have to think about it from a rational standpoint. They probably forgot. They just became momentarily blinded, unaware, aloof. So, and you know, the mind can sometimes wander. So like, you're done your stream, the mind could have you think that you turned everything off. Like, if you have a process that you do every night, or a process that you do every day, and you do it enough times, you do it without thought. So when you don't accomplish a step within that process and you don't correct yourself, your mind is thinking you've done that step, but in fact, that because you visualize, like, did I do that? In your mind, you visualize that you accomplished that step, but in fact you didn't. So your mind can trick you into thinking that you turned the camera off, and it happens. But to the level of tubing, and to the level of whether the other person was that got caught in stream. Man, it was a female streamer that also got caught beaten off. Unfortunately, hers is still on Pornhub. Yes, I saw it. It's hilarious. She literally forgot the camera was on, and she literally on her second stream, or her second screen, had that porn that she was watching as she was getting off. So it's hilarious. People just get caught. Apparently, another Twitch streamer, it happened to them too. She has a fairly known name, Sniper Wolf, I guess is her name. I think she got caught too, but she used it for her advantage, apparently. But I don't know. It's whatever. But all right, so we are almost at the 10 o'clock mark. I'm probably gonna jump on some NHL after this. I'm still working diligently on these sliders as I fumble over words, but it is getting close to late. My mind's starting to whatever. And as I burp because I've been drinking this soda. So I'm probably gonna get into that. Speaking of Don Lemon, still doesn't have Ice Cube on the show because I'm looking at him and Cuomo. They always appear side by side. Who knows? They could be fucking each other anyway. But they probably are. The way they talk about each other, the way they like, I love you too, dog. That whole thing. But you know, they're good friends. So we know. But anyway, I'm about to be out of here. Yeah, I'm about to wrap it up too. So thank you for stopping by. Let me go through everybody that stopped by. So first of all, G Rob, Doug, Antonio. Let's see. Go back. I know Pooh was here for a quick moment. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Let me keep going. Quayface was here at the beginning. I don't know if he stayed for the whole thing, but pretty much, yep. I'm looking over my topics. Pretty much got everything that I wanted to accomplish done, and then some. So thank you guys for interacting with me in the chat, keeping me focused, keeping me on task, but also coming up with new topics, and also making. Am I streaming Friday? I should. I actually should stream tomorrow, but tomorrow's the debate. That's gonna be hilarious because they're gonna be muting mics on Thursday. So yeah, I'll be streaming Friday. Because that'll be the next time you guys see me. Like I said, there's no first and frame race tomorrow. So yeah, so 8 p.m. I'll be back. It'll be NHL 21 on the menu. So I'll be playing for my PS4. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the last stream from Friday. Hopefully you got something from it, and hopefully with the updates to the sliders I've been working on, I can make it a little bit better. I think I have something going here with this set of sliders. The first set was good, but I think I've cleaned some things up, but at the same time dirtied some other areas which quite frankly need to be dirty anyway. So we'll see. Alright then, you guys have a good night. Rest easy, be safe, wear masks. If you haven't followed the channel, or you know people that would be interested in watching people talk about sports and video gaming and also other variety subjects, you tell them about this channel. And just sports and video gaming in general, you can point them to First and Frame Rates. We go live Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know, for some reason I keep looking over here. Tuesdays and Thursdays between 7:45 8 p.m. because I've given up on saying that we go live at 7:30. 7:45 8 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays. First and Frame Rates. Myself, Bills, and VF. Virtual Footballer. We all go live and we talk about sports and video gaming. And a lot of people that were here tonight are also there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we all get to chop it up a bit. You know, we usually do the picks on Thursdays. Usually go over the previous week's picks and matchups and just anything of interest. So we tend to be straightforward. We flame who we ever need to flame whenever they deserve it. We flame each other and it's all fun. So definitely come check us out. And on that note, I will see you guys Friday. Be there at 8 p.m. Peace out.